What's up, everyone? I'm Jordan with Line in the Stars.
And I'm Ken with Ken's Hobby Bench.
Awesome. And this week, we're continuing on with the HTM buddy build of the Reliant. Ken, what did you get done last week?
That's a good question, Jordan. Last week, I got my RCS thrusters. I kept saying
go.
RTS thrusters. I
Yep.
got them installed.
Awesome.
So, yeah. And then
how did you find installing those were? Was it fairly easy or?
It wasn't that bad for the top ones. The bottom ones were a pain in the behind.
Yeah.
Because I kept the plastic part, the body part on it.
Yeah.
And then I just opened a hole and then fed it up underneath and then sat it in place like that.
Okay.
So that's what I ended up doing. Are you going to be doing the same ones?
Yes, I actually just emailed Cass to get those ordered, so I'm waiting to hear back from him. I kind of delayed on getting that done, so it'll likely be the last portion of the body modifications that I'm going to wind up doing.
Right. A couple of points. Will was probably smarter than I was. I could have followed him, but I decided to try things differently. He just cut out the triangle part and cut the hole and then just fit it in here. He didn't worry about the plate part. But I just wanted to see if it could be done.
Okay.
Awesome. The other thing I just noticed today when I was doing some sanding and dry fitting and stuff is that two of them don't line up like they should, even though they're directly on the panel line. And if you look here, you can see one's right here and one's right here. You can see this one's over this way and this one's over that way. But they're both directly on their panel line to the point. Now this one here is not bad. This one here is actually pretty good. So it'll probably be something I'll just have to try and camouflage with paint or something. But keep that in mind.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, once again, this kit is not a very not very accurate. That's why we're doing all the things that we're doing to it. So, okay, well, that's good to know.
Yes, yeah. And then I also went in and put the light box in from underneath here.
Awesome. So, awesome.
Just a little what is this stuff called? Here we go. The uncure. I just put because it's a little basin basically. I just put a little bit in there, let it sit for maybe 2 minutes. Stuck my tweezers in on the side and just popped the whole thing up, no problem.
Awesome. And then did you just cut this piece out right here completely?
Yeah, I did. You want to leave a little bit of a lip, just like about as wide as the actual rim on that photo etch is, if you look at the piece.
Okay.
And then it'll actually sit down at that point. I actually kind of caved mine in a little bit over here on this side, but that's okay.
Okay. Nice. And then it just sits right down on top of the resin piece.
Yeah. Because if you don't remove that part underneath, you would just set it in there normally, and it just looks great.
Right.
But once you've opened it up, just leave a little lip on the inside of what you're cutting out.
Okay.
For this to sit on, because this technically it isn't actually sitting right on this part. It's sitting above it.
Okay. Awesome.
Like
that's kind of that definite. Yeah, it's given that definition so you can actually catch the grill underneath.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sweet.
So what are you doing this week?
I guess
what did you do last week, I guess.
What did I do last week? Yeah. So I went ahead and I guess first up, I went ahead and got my window panels all sanded in. So we're all nice and flush and even along the outside. There's still a couple spots that need a little bit of love. With my aggressiveness with putting this in, I also had to kind of sand around the edge as well to kind of just make sure it's a nice, smooth, and even surface. But I did get all of my window panels sanded in. I got them putted in from the inside as well to kind of assist with light blocking. I got my lower windows drilled out. And then As for the rest of the saucer, I went ahead and got the 2 maintenance pits, or the 2 engineering pits, installed, and I went ahead and just basically cut them out completely, out of instead of sanding it down like Will had done. I just cut them out. I found it much easier to deal with that. They fit in beautifully, especially if you take your time. This one's slotted in perfectly. And then I got a lot of the work done back here. So I got all of the triangles. Let's focus up. Got all the triangles sanded off. And then I went ahead and installed both of my shuttle bay doors, as you can see there. I followed Will's technique almost to the letter and wound up working out perfectly. This one I did a really nice cut. If I can get it to focus right, I got fairly close the first time and barely had to do any sort of sanding. I just need some putty work down around the outside. This one was a little bit more of the trial and figuring it out. I did it on stream the other night. And then I went ahead and got the side portions cut out for photo etch. I did unfortunately happen to split the piece up here. So I've been a little ginger with it. I need to go ahead and sand it out still, but I've just been letting that cure up. So that's what I got done last week. Episode should be out tomorrow, according to this recording. So, what do you plan on getting done this week?
This week, I want to do kind of same as you did. I'm going to work back here on the shuttle bay area. I got the shuttle bay parts as well. I will be doing the mechanical trenches, I guess, up here. And yeah, I'll probably do the same as you did of drilling in the windows. So kind of catching up to with the things you did in this past week.
So note on those windows, it is a 1.2 millimeter drill bit that you want to use.
Oh, perfect. Thank you very much.
And it actually, if you look at them, it's exactly 1.2 millimeters. So they drill out, if you look at that, they drilled out perfectly.
Perfect.
I was very pleased with how that turned out. So yeah, 1.2 millimeters. And as for me, my plan is to finish up back here. I'm going to get the photo etch laid across the top here, and then go ahead and get my triangles put into place after getting all of this puttied and sanded in. And then from there, I think I want to try to keep working on sanding and puttying and getting just this the hole smoothed out as much as possible. And then one of the things that I'm looking at before moving on is, where was it? Someone mentioned in the comments, and I will show you that comment, but he mentioned that there's something that's missing from over in this area that Will didn't even catch on his video. So I will let you know about that. But yeah, so there's like a surface detail that we might be able to change over in this triangle area. So I'll go ahead and let you know what that is. But otherwise, kind of a simple approach for me this week. I just want to finish up getting this done, although the photo etch and getting the resin pieces put in place, along with all the sanding, there's actually going to be quite a bit of work that needs to be done back here. So that's my plan. We're both kind of, what's funny is we diverged and then kind of came back together at certain points. And so I imagine that's going to be that way across a lot of this model. So.
Oh, yeah, I would assume that's exactly what the thing we're going to be running into.
Yep. Well, awesome, man. Well, got anything else?
Just that I'm learning more and more that doing the templates where we're using tape to make our own templates, I'm finding that actually works really well on all this stuff we're doing. I ended up doing it here too.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. The templates are something that it's funny. It's like you have masks and you have mask designs and you have all those different companies out there that do this sort of stuff. And I really do think that it would be a worthwhile endeavor for these guys Cass or them to include that in their instructions. Like if you actually want to get this properly put into place, having taking the mask and laying it down exactly where you want to cut is key. So I agree. And Ken, it was a fantastic tip for you to create that.
No, thank you.
All right, my friend. Well, I think it's time to get to building this week. I wish you good luck and can't wait to see what you get done.
Thanks, Jordan. Pitter patter, let's get at her.
All right.
All right, so I'm going to start with my mechanical trenches here. They're going to go right in these areas here. I'll start off by removing it from its supports here, cleaning it up, and then I'll come back here and we'll discuss the two different ways that we can approach this. So I'll be right back. All right, so I have them off their supports now, and I just wanted to talk about the detail level for these parts. Now, I don't know how well you can see that in there, the level of detail. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of accent panel liner, and you don't need to do this normally. I'm just doing this just to highlight what its detail level is in there. There we go. And just there we go. And we'll do the same to this. And this will really give you an idea of how much detail Will went into getting these parts done up for us. So thanks again, Will. Awesome job. So there's your difference. Now, as we said before, the kit part's not bad. It's not terrible or anything, but it is inaccurate. So Will's is obviously, much nicer with the detail and everything. So that's what we're going to go with. So I'm going to try this one here in the method that Will had done. He sanded it all out and cleared it out. And so yeah, we'll give that a shot and see how we make out. I'll probably also use my chisel in there as well. And then Jordan's last episode before this week's episode, he cut his out, so I might try that as well, so I can see both options. So let's get a little bit more of this out of there. Not a big deal. And see how a sanding stick fits in there nicely. And then we could also come in here with a chisel. Kind of a poor angle for me. There we go. All right. So here we have our trench kind of cleaned out now. I've sanded it. I've chiseled it, and I found I had to chisel down kind of right in this area here where the round part kind of ends and the trench begins. I've had to bear down deep in there with the chisel because there is an edge with some detail on this part. So now we take our part, slide it into place, and there we have it. And you can see, you keep that pushed down, and that'll go right into that area with minimal gap. So there we have it. Looks really nice. So I'm going to glue this one in place, and then I'll move on to the other one, and that's going to be the one where I'm going to try to cut it out like Jordan did. All right, let's come in here with our sonic saber, and we can try to cut this out from the back. Watching Jordan's latest video, he was showing a technique of scoring with the Sonic Saber looks a lot better than what I was doing. So we could always try that. So there we go, making several passes. And that seems to work. Kind of nice for making a straight line. Start a little further back here. There we go. That is some thick plastic. All right. Clean that up a little bit. There we go. Should be more easily. There we go. Able to fit the sanding stick in here. Get closer. All right, now we have this one in place now too, and you can see it's really looking good as well. I think both methods work equally as well. I mean, you just pick one and decide which way you want to go with it. Sonic Saber definitely makes it easier to cut through to completely do that. So if you don't have a Sonic Saber, unless you got some other way of quickly removing the bottom, sanding is going to be your way to go. So let's get these glued into place, and we'll move on to our next project on here. All right, so we have our mechanical trenches here in place and secured. A bit of CA glue. So now I'm going to move over and I'm going to drill these windows out. Now, thanks to talking to Jordan there, we know that these are 1.2 millimeter. I checked with my drill bit already and just kind of took the back end of it and put it in the little window divots, and that would be the correct size. So I've got my rotary tool here. You could also use a pin vise, and I'm just going to come in here. Now I have a nice foot controller here for my rotary tool here, so I can go fast or I can go slow. The benefit of going slower is you're not melting the plastic. There we go. Just like that, we are done that job. So I'll clean up here and I'll move on to the next item on our checklist today. All right, let's get this out of the way with the windows drilled out and work on this, the rear of the hull of the ship. So we have our two shuttle bays here. We have our marker lights or whatever these are in here. And we're going to also be looking at cutting this part out. There's these, I don't know what these are. It's a set of grills, I guess. We'll cut them out so we can get the light coming through there. So let's start off by removing these shuttle bay doors from their supports and get them cleaned up, and we can look at our next step of what we're going to be doing. All right, so I have my shuttle bay stuff ready to go here. I've already done one mask, and I'm going to do another one. So let me grab some masking tape here. And all you need to do is just lay this down like that and cut it out. There we go. A little bit of trivia here. Apparently one of the possible options for the Reliant originally was it carried attack fighters. So that would be something that would be coming out of the shuttle bay area. There we go. Make sure it's still good. Yep. Round off my corners here. There we go. All right, so I can peel this off now and just put it in place here. I just kind of center it, and then the top of the tape comes even with the bottom of this top of the shuttle bay. So, but it doesn't go on it. It just goes a little short. Okay, that took longer than it should have, but here I have the two masks in place here that I can now take my sonic saber and basically I just need to, because there's nothing at pop here, I just need to follow along on the bottom. Oops. There we go. Should hopefully, no, not quite yet. Close. that one. Okay, we'll clean this up a little bit here with this lip. The melted plastic. And let's see how this looks. How it fits. Okay, just about. So I just need to clean up my corners a little bit. So I will take a sanding stick. Alright, so I've sort of gone through here and sanded it out. You've seen me kind of do that on some of the other sections of the ship that we're modifying here. And you can see it fits through there nicely, so I'll be able to put that in place. Now we can see how this one sits. So this one here, the same thing. We're going to need to sand it to open it up, so let's do that. Alright, so both of these are cut out and ready to be put into place, as you can see here and here. This one here is a little bit tighter than this one is, but that's great either way. So what we're going to do now, this is the same technique Will over at the Ensign's Chair. He did this. He's the gentleman who created these parts, as I've said many times in the other videos. Go over there and give his videos a watch. Recommended. He's got tons of videos on different builds. And then, yeah, Jordan did this one in his last episode as well. So I'm going to do the same. So what we do is we put these in place here on the tape, like this. I want it centered as best as I can with the top, like that. And over here with this one. Say about there. Okay. Next, we'll take some of our CA glue, just to tack it in place. All right, there we go. Okay, now, so I have the pieces glued in, and I've let them dry for a little bit after giving them a little bit of Insta-Set. And now what I'm going to do is come in along the sides here with some UV resin and cure it in there, and it'll kind of become part of the back wall on the outside here. And then we can take and sand it, sand it down and whatnot. So I have my two 1, 2, 3 blocks here, and I'm going to use them to kind of hold this piece here, because it's kind of you get the impulse engine area here, and that kind of gets in the way from keeping this nice and level. So I got one here to keep it level on, keep the impulse engine up, and the other one to support it on that side. So you can kind of do that as you want. There we go. So I will take my UV resin here. And just go around. we go. Get it all down in there. Okay. All right, so now I've gone through here and used the clear UV resin to kind of seal this back into place and hopefully kind of give us a front we can work with. So let's peel this back and see what we have and see if we need to do any worrying or anything like that. No, it's looking okay. And how's this one looking? Looking pretty good here too. So I could do a little bit of cleanup over here. So what I'll do, so I'll get a Q-tip, or a couple Q-tips, and get a couple Q-tips here and my isopropyl alcohol, and we'll clean this up. Just like that. And if it does stick out just a little bit, like this one corner is a little bit, I'm not concerned again, because we'll be sanding it all smooth. So what I can do now is I can sit here and examine it and see how well I've filled in those gaps for sanding. So I can see my UV resin is right here. That's looking good. It's filled in here and here. That's good. So I'm just going to take my UV flashlight here and just cure up anything that's still not completely good yet. Once that's done, we'll get to work on sanding the front here. So we'll be right back. All right, now that this is all in place and resined in with our UV resin, we're going to kind of try and come in through here and sand down our fronts here to make sure this is flush. We could also use some putty if we need to. That's not an issue. In fact, I think, you know, we're going to have to more than likely. A bit of a gap in here, but we can get rid of that with I could just put super glue in there. I could just come at it later with some filler. So not a big issue. I think that's good for now. What I'll do is kind of near the end of the episode, I will fill in with putty. That way it'll have a chance to harden up and be ready to go for the following episode. With this episode now, I can carry on. So I'm just going to clean up here a little bit and I'll be right back. Next up, we have these lighting sconces, or I'm not sure, whatever they are, these little triangle pieces. Now, if you have the photo-etched part, or photo-etch sprue here from ParaGrafix, it does have covers for it. So what you do with this is you would just sand down the detail, leaving the body there, and you would just place the photo-etch on top. Now, we have the 3D printed parts here from Will, and they are, I think, a little bit bigger. So we have to sand the whole thing down and put these on there flat. So what I'll do next is get to work with the sandpaper or the sanding stick, and we'll start sanding these down. As you can see, I've sanded it down, but now I'm just remembering that I need to not put it in place yet because I need to cut out these grills and put some photo etch over this. So I can still look though and see how it's coming along. Let's say that looks pretty good. Should fit on there just nicely. Worst case, I may have to sand the backing of this just a little bit. Just take on some sandpaper. If you need, you can take yourself some poster tack and just put the piece on the end of the poster tack. So you don't have to worry about sanding your fingers. There we go. There we go. That's a bit better. There. That's going to look really good there. So that's looking really good. What I think I'll do now, before I cut these out, is we'll sand down the rest of them in preparation for these parts. And then we'll look at cutting out these this grill area for putting the photo etch in. So I'll get those all other light sconces or whatever they are sanded off, and then we'll come back and we'll get to work on these side vents here. Okay, so now we're going to work on our grills here. What we got to look at is how this is going to go over and what we need to remove. Now the instructions here say you just basically remove it, and you have the side with the detail. You can see these, my camera will focus, all these little grooves on this side, whereas this side does not have them. So yeah, you want this side out, and we will pre-bend this around here, it says in the instructions. And then I can also look and see what I need to remove. Now if you weren't lighting, you could just use this detail on here like this and bury it in place and you're all good to go. However, we are going to be lighting this, so we are going to have to remove some remove this piece of material underneath of here. So I also want to give this a little bit more of a bend without going and making an actual kinked bend. So what I'm going to do is take this here. This is kind of like a mouse pad material as well, nice and soft. And then I'm going to take something round, which I can roll like this, pin vise here. I'm just going to roll it over this piece here while putting in some force to kind of roll it out. Kind of give it a better bend. So a little bit more. But you can see it's gotten us pretty close, just with it naturally being there now. So we can just give it a little bit more. A little bit more force. And there we go. We are there. So I'll put this just over here out of reach, or within reach, so I can do it on the next one. Now, what we need to do is mark off what we're going to cut out. So you can see where the bottom ends here, like that. But how far up the top must we go here? I don't think we really need to, do we? So when this goes into place, like this, yeah, there's not really going to be a requirement for anything to go there. So we can end it right at the top of where this is. So what I'm going to do, in this case, I could do a template as well. I don't really see the need for it. So what I'll do is I'll take my Sharpie. I'm just going to mark where this top is. So it is there. And the bottom is going to be there. So that's the area I need to cut out in between those areas. So again, I'm going to come in with my Sonic Saber. And I don't think I need to go any wider than what's showing here for this grilling. So we'll just come in and cut away. Oh, that's loud. Okay. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So that's that one. We can clean it up a little bit over here. Now normally, like I said, I don't like doing that for the small stuff, but this is being covered up by photo-etched, so it's not as vital. Take a sanding sponge now to maintain that corner. See how that's going to look. I think that's going to be good. I just need to go in here and clean up all this. There we go. Let's see how that looks. Now, the arc of these should go, the bottom should arc up. That's how you know you have it in the right position. Okay, looking at it, it's looking pretty good. However, I think I'm going to sand off a little bit more coming down, and I'm going to angle this sanding just a little bit more towards what would be the side of the ship. So let's get our sanding stick. We have to use a file actually for the bottom. Okay, I like that. So what I can do now is I can go ahead and get some CA glue and attach it in place. So I'll be right back. All right, so we're ready to glue our photo etch piece in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some clear CA glue now, This is a new bottle I got. Looks like I need to. Let's try that. There we go. And get myself a toothpick. Make sure I have it orientated the right way and set it into place. Just like that. There we go. There. Now I can do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll come in with a soldering iron afterwards, and we'll try the trick that Will was doing with his, and he was kind of sticking the tip of the soldering iron on the metal here to kind of warm it up and then push it into the plastic a bit. So we're going to try that as well. But for now, I'll go ahead and do this side here. I don't think you really need to watch that. And once that's done, I will come back and we'll try the soldering iron. So we'll be right back. Here we have our vents in place. As you can see, looking really good. We have our soldering iron now. What we're going to try and do is heat this up and see if we can press it in. Now this is something I've never done, but I'm willing to try new things. Looks like it did go in there. It did sink in a bit. So we'll just move down part way and try over here. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta be careful though. I don't want to deform anything, but it is, when I push down, it does create a bit of a lip of plastic coming up. So I think it is working. Yeah, definitely working. So we'll let that cool down for a moment. Not even sure if it's worth doing, to be honest. As long as I don't wreck anything, well, I'm fine to try it. There we go. I don't think it really needs it on the rest of this side. Yeah, okay. I'll try this side now. Yeah, you got to be careful, like Will said, to not to touch the plastic, or else you're going to have some damage you're going to have to repair. Again, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it'd just be a very good annoyance. Yeah, there we go. I think it's sinking in now. Yeah. Yeah, I think it did. So now we'll do this side. I'm trying to be careful too not to touch it. I don't feel like burning myself. Yeah. Yeah. Just... There we go. I'll let that cool down like that. I think it did work. I think it made a difference. This side's cooled off, so it's safer to touch. I think it can go down a little bit more, though. All right. Yeah, sides. Yeah, you can definitely see. You can definitely see it sinks it in really nice. So it's going to be less filler you're going to need to kind of come along this edge here just to blend it in. So I do like that. And this side, yeah, I can kind of see it too. It did kick up a little lip of plastic. If you can see it here, kind of like you do when you're using the extra thin cement. But that can be sanded away. All right. So there we go. Thanks, Will, for that tip. Yeah, seemed to work pretty good. So I think that's kind of where we are for now. I guess what I'll do is I'll work on this a little bit more, and then I'll look at putting on the little triangle lights. So I'm just going to work on cleaning this up a little bit more, and I'll be right back. So now that we have our photo etch here sanded down a bit, after getting it kind of melted in there with the soldering iron, I think it turned out really good. If you can see that, there's minimal lip there, and a little bit of filler when we do around here as well. I can just come across this side here, and that'll do perfect. So what I'm going to do next is install these lights. So I think it's supposed to be the top of these lights should be level with the bottom of what's going to be this trench here. So, because my understanding is these ones are a little high. Not by a whole lot, but just a little bit. So, there we go. Just looking. It's looking good. So I'm going to do like I did with the one. I'm going to sand them down a bit on the back. Keep them flat. So again, I'm just taking a bit of poster tack, or white tack, or whatever. Not very white anymore. I'm just putting it on there, and I'm not pushing hard into the sanding stick. I'm just lightly going at it. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. Right. Might be a little crooked. Straighten it out. No, too far that way. How does that work? Oh, I think that's looking decent like that. There we go. Now the question is, does that look level? Now, because I've brought down these two, that hole does not necessarily match up with the tiny little hole in the center here, but I can take my smallest drill bit and just come in with my rotary tool and drill through, so it shouldn't be an issue. But I think that's good. I will get a second set of eyes on this afterwards. Tonight we're having our Friday night live stream, so I'll ask the guys to take a look and tell me if it looks all cockeyed or not. It's kind of hard to tell when you start getting like other colors in here and other things to draw your eye away. That's why it's so much nicer to look at it once you've given everything an overall priming. So, but I think that's going to be it for this episode. I appreciate everyone coming in and watching. Make sure you go over and check out Jordan and see how he's done it aligning the stars. I'd like to thank Will at the Ensign Share for putting these parts together. And I'd also like to thank Cass at Lake Musser Detail, who was kind enough to supply us with these parts before they're available on the market. So don't forget to give them some love as well. All right, everyone, until next time, you take care. If you're so inclined, like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.